giving myself permission to shine.
Hello and welcome to another episode of From One Height Goddess to Another. It's Lamika, founder and creative director of Height Goddess, and I get to bring you these awesome women each week. And so I have the pleasure of bringing to you Arriane Alexander. Arriane is a rock your life coach, and she's also a working TV actress. So I am excited. And you never know, again, guys, I tell you all the time, I meet people all over the place and you always have to be ready. And so I met a gentleman and we somehow got to talking about my clothing line. I don't even know how we got there. And so before we parted, he said, I have an awesome woman that you have to meet. And so now here we are. And I have Arriane Alexander on the podcast. So welcome, Arriane. How are you?
Hi, Lamika. I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. So as I said, you are a rock your life coach, and I'm excited for you to tell me what that means and to tell our audience what that means. And so, but first, before we get into that, everybody automatically wants to know when you walk into a room is how tall are you and did you play a sport? So if you can tell us that, and then we'll get to the good stuff.
Okay, great. I am 5'10", flat-footed, and I'm 6'2" with heels and hair.
Nice.
And what I did growing up was I didn't, quote, play a sport. I showed quarter horses competitively all growing up. So my sport was horses. I grew up a total cowgirl in Kansas and showed horses competitively.
Wow, that's a different aspect. I like it. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. So how did you get into that?
I got into showing horses at a very young age because I think I got my first horse when I was probably like 9, and I just fell in love with horses. And so it just continued from there. I just, was always training with different horse trainers and doing different shows and then kind of up-leveling the kind of competitions I was in. So by the time I was 15, I was competing at world championships. And when I was 16, I won a world championship, which was like one of the most amazing moments of my life. Yeah. And I have to say that being tall really helped in that because like my horse was really tall and she was beautiful. And then there's like this tall, beautiful girl on a horse. And it was all kind of very magical.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So speaking of that tall, beautiful girl growing up, how was it for you growing up as a tall girl?
I think it was challenging, even though I didn't know it was, let's say I didn't really understand how challenging it was at the time. But looking back, I can go, because I was always taller than everyone. And, I used to do a stage show. I'm in the entertainment business. I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Yes.
But one of the things that I talk about is that I was 5'10" by the age of 13. So I was already taller than everyone, all the guys included. And I was like a big girl. I wasn't like, I was like skinny, but I wasn't like super skinny.
Right. Actually, I know all about that.
Yeah. Right. Like I was like athletic and I just wasn't this tiny little, like I always laugh because I go, I think guys always want like this just tiny little skinny brown hair girl. That was always my like thing of like, guys want that. They don't want like a tall girl like me. And so that was probably the biggest intimidation was that I was taller than everyone. So I didn't even realize it at the time, but I'm pretty sure all the boys were intimidated by me because I was so tall, because I was taller than them. Now it's a different story and I don't, it's a little more level playing field. But when we're kids, like it's kind of weird for a girl to be so tall.
Yeah,
it's not
it
weird,
is.
But it's weird for us, I guess is a good way to say it.
Absolutely.
It was weird for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I was speaking at a career day earlier and one of the students that was there, she mentioned, my doctor said I'm going to be about 6'2". And she was like, I just don't want that. And I was like, why? And she's like, well, I'm already taller than everybody. And it's just like, I just don't like it. That was the big thing. And I said, well, who's everybody? And of course it got down to the boys.
Yes.
That's what it got down to.
Not the boys.
It is. It's always about the boys. Yeah.
No,
exactly. So I pointed her to the podcast and I say, I promise you, you are going to love this later on. You've got to get through it right now, but I promise you later on, you'll love it.
Yeah, it's so true. Because I think that age, just growing up, or I can only speak for myself. Like I want to fit in so badly and not be the odd person out. And I was just for height wise, but it wasn't like tragic, but I was still like, they just, guys don't want to go out with me because they like those little short cheerleader girls.
Right.
And I'm that girl. And it is different later in life because now I'm like, oh my God, like men love that I'm so tall. They're
Exactly.
like, oh my God, you're so tall and gorgeous. And so it's really funny how like things change.
Yes. And of course, you being in the entertainment industry, I guess growing up, I always thought, oh my God, everybody's tall. And then as I got older and I was around everybody, I'm like, oh my God, no, he's not. Like, had the biggest crush, and I won't name the actor because I don't want him to, had the biggest crush. And then I saw him and I was like, oh my God, he's so short. Like, that just totally killed it for me. So how is it for you working as a working actor? How is that for you?
Well, it's interesting because my height does come into play as a working actor because, like you say, so many of the people that we think they're like super tall because we watch them in movies and we think that, but in person, they might be like, I don't know, 5'7",
right,
5'6", or 5'8". So my height definitely is a factor as a working actor because sometimes I am too tall. Like, for instance, if I know there's certain actors who in their contract, if they're the lead of a show, in their contracts will say, like, the supporting actors opposite them cannot be taller than them.
Really?
Yeah. Because if they're like the lead actor of a show, like they have to be like the one with the status. And if there's a woman who's taller than them, then the changes the playing field. So I'm not saying everyone has that.
Right.
But definitely like when I go out for roles, they pretty much always ask my height. And I'm always like, oh, right. Because they have to make sure like if I'm the only one who's tall in a scene and like everyone else is totally short, it might not work.
Yeah, the angles.
The angles, right. It just might not work. And it might not be the kind of energetic that they want to portray in that scene with the actors. And, there's a million factors that come into play when they're casting roles. But what I found where my height helps me is I book roles that are, let's call it status roles. So I book like cops and prison guards and kind of these tough ladies who, they want me to be tall and strong and come in and kind of own the room in that scene. So I definitely see that my height is an advantage in some roles and some circumstances. And then it's a disadvantage at other times. But I don't even worry about the disadvantage because I'm like, whatever, it's fine.
Right. Exactly.
You cast me as a cop all day long and I'm happy and I'll be fine.
That's pretty cool. So I was watching one of your videos, Arriane Unplugged. And you talked about being from Kansas and this not even being in your wildest dream. I think you went to work as a pharmaceutical rep and then you went to work for an apparel or jewelry company, did some things there for a while and decided that that wasn't your passion anymore. So talk us through that journey, how you got to where you are, how you became a Rock Your Life coach, how like all these amazing things that are happening in your life. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, it's cool because, my main work is a Rock Your Life coach. So I work with female businesswomen and entrepreneurs all over the world. And women come to me when they want to build their business and really rock their business. And part of rocking your business means rocking your life. So I have a background in spiritual psychology where I basically dive in with my clients to really deep places and shift like all these limiting beliefs and the resistances of why you think you can't do something. And once I'm working with my clients and we start to shift the inner experience, then the outer experience shifts.
Absolutely.
Outer experience is a reflection of inner reality. So what I do with my clients is we're very focused on business, but it includes life as well, because when their personal life, their inner life transforms and their business life transforms too. And the results are just extraordinary.
Absolutely. 100%.
All right.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. And I started out in pharmaceuticals for a couple of years, pharmaceutical sales. And then I worked for a fashion company, a big accessory company for many years. And I just wasn't happy. I just knew like I had an amazing job and this glamorous career, but I wasn't fully satisfied. And I just couldn't put I knew there was a purpose bigger than me, but I didn't know what that purpose was. And then I got my master's degree in spiritual psychology. And through that process, that's when things really started to shift. When I really got involved with personal development and really finding my purpose. And what transpired after that was I had to walk away from that career, from that amazing, successful, glamorous career and just say, okay, life, like, I don't know what's next, but there's got to be something else for me here. So what I was pulled into was the entertainment business, which was totally like unknown for me. And that's what I always share is that I didn't grow up as a little girl in Kansas dreaming about being an actor in LA. So now that this is my reality, that I work as an actor on all these amazing TV shows and I'm a Rock Your Life coach for all these women around the world, this was not even in the realm of possibility. I mean, I grew up in Kansas. I went to college in Kansas. Like, they don't even have, I was like, I don't think there were life coaches when I went to college. And certainly acting was not on the radar. So what happened to me was I allowed my dreams that I didn't even know were there, but I just trusted that spirit and something bigger than me was pulling me forward. Mm-hmm. And so when all these little hints and intuitions and, guidance, for the next steps would come up, I would just do it. And does that make sense? Like yes. This intuitive hit would come up of literally it came up to go do a stage show. Like, oh, why don't you have a stage show where you're a singer and it's like a one-woman show and you're singing and have a band and telling stories and it's really funny, that. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. Where I've never done a stage show like that before.
I love the fact that it came about so natural and you were so in tune that you followed it. A lot of times we have these moments with ourselves and we're looking for, where we're supposed to be led. And then when we find out, we're like, oh, no, I don't know if I can do that because I don't know anything about, being on a stage show. But I love the fact that you decided, you know what, I like it and I'm going to try it. I don't necessarily know that I've done it before, but I like that. That's pretty cool.
I think that's, part of this is how I coach my clients as well is I can have all these preconceived notions of what I think life should look like or mm-hmm. what I should be doing. Mm-hmm. But when I really slow down and allow what I call life, spirit, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, heart, we all call it something different, but when we allow ourselves to really listen to that and be mm-hmm. guided by that place, uh-huh. then the most amazing, miraculous things can show up that our little mind could never dream of.
Yes. Totally get that. Especially when I first started Height Goddess, I didn't want my picture to be anywhere on the website. I didn't want anyone to know who I was. And I went on a morning television show. And so one of my friends said, well, I guess now it's okay to put a picture on the website because you've been on this television show. And I thought, well, you're right. And for me, as I spent many years in corporate. And so I have that corporate background and it was somewhat rigid or it wasn't, I think it was really just kind of coming into the time frame where you saw the CEOs and the people behind corporations starting to be at the forefront and having to connect with their consumers. And so for me, once I finally took that step to say, okay, I'm okay with letting people in and knowing who I am, it's made the world of difference in my business and people, being able to have that connection with me and being able to talk to me. So I totally get it, but it was definitely a process for me to get there. So I definitely understand that. That's pretty cool. So as a Rock Your Life coach, you work with women all over the world. And so how do women find you? Do you find them? Do they find you? How do you guys come together and work with each other?
Most of my clients come through referrals, because what happens is I'll work with someone and she's like, hi, my business is on fire. My life is amazing. And she's telling all her friends about me, or people are like, what is happening with you?
Exactly.
Changed, right? So most of my client base comes in through referrals from other clients and people that I know. And also online, I have a very strong online social media presence. Mm-hmm. So clients find me that way too, from just following me through social media and building, me building a relationship with them. One way that I love to build a relationship with people over the planet is that I do my newsletters a couple times a month and I do videos. Like you said, you mentioned Arriane Unplugged. So my Arriane Unplugged videos are me out and about in my life, like all over Los Angeles, because I do have a really fascinating life where I work as a Rock Your Life coach. I work with these amazing women. And like you said, I work as an actor. So I go to auditions and I'm on set and, I do all these things that are very glamorous and very cool. And so I'm always sharing just from all over the city where I'm at in my videos called Arriane Unplugged. And so I love sharing those with everyone that's on my email list. So that's the way that I also build relationship with people is through all the contents and fun stuff that I create for them.
Awesome. So yes, listeners, definitely go to ArianeAlexander.com. And you can definitely subscribe to her email list as well as for clicking for your Rock Your Life Discovery session. She has that on the website. So definitely visit ArianeAlexander.com and we will have that information in our show notes for you all to go there and rock your life. So tell us about you being an actor. I know you've done a couple shows, What's Happening LA. You've guest spot on several different shows. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So, working as an actor in LA is fascinating because I got into this business later in life. And, most people start when they're younger, but I literally got I mean, I didn't start working as an actor until I was in my 30s. So I was already like way older. And it's been amazing because in a short amount of time, I've created such an awesome career where I work regularly on television shows, and I'm the host of 2 television shows. And I've worked really hard and really smartly to build relationships and, you know, get really good at what I do in this business. And that's kind of part of why I coach too, because I literally live the dream. I mean, people over the world are like, you know, have a dream to be in Hollywood and be a working actor. And I get to live it. You know, I go to auditions all the time. I mean, that's basically the job of a working actors. We're auditioning all the time. And then I book shows, and like I'm on a show called The People versus O.J. Simpson, which is the hottest show on television this spring.
Congratulations.
Right? Thank you. It's so exciting to book a role on a show like that. And I'm on a new Showtime show that's coming out. It's called I'm Dying Up Here. And that'll be coming out this summer. And it's executive produced by Jim Carrey. And I have a really awesome role in that. So it's fascinating to me because I've made it in one of the most competitive industries on the planet. This is one of the reasons I love to coach women, because I'm like, if I can do it, you can do it. Because I'm not special and I'm not the best actor in the city by any stretch of the imagination. I just understand how to hold a vision and how to take action steps toward it and how to do it courageously. And, you know, people are like, oh, you're so fearless. And I'm like, no, I'm not.
Right.
I just do it. I'm scared to death.
Exactly. I tell people that all the time. I'm like, no. That's not the case. I just decide to do it and not let that fear hold me back. Right.
That's the difference. Like you and I just, you know, one of my teachers would always say to me, the fear is always going to be there. Just walk through the fear anyway.
Absolutely.
That's what I just have to do. So, and that's what I coach my clients on. They're like, oh, I'm scared to do this thing. And I'm like, great, then you have to do it. And they're like, I hate it when you say that. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And that's the only way we can actually move forward in life is
right.
Do the things that we think is scary, because it's only the mind that thinks it's scary.
Absolutely. Just pushing through it. So being in Hollywood or being an actor, as well as Rock Your Life coach, what is your fashion style? What's your signature look?
Oh my gosh, what is my signature look? I would say, you know, I'm definitely right now, I'm in the whole like California casual look. So I'm basically with like tight skinny jeans, and I love to wear boots. I wear kind of booties kind of all year round. In the summer, I wear cute booties and like a silk shirt. And I love jewelry. Like my signature look, I always have tons of jewelry, and I always have. Like I'm a total big, bold jewelry girl.
I could totally see that you would be from Texas versus Kansas.
Totally. Everyone always thinks I'm a Texas girl. I'm like, I have blonde hair. I'm like, you know, one of my brands, my stage show was called Big Blonde and Beautiful. And that was my brand for many years. And I'm like, because that's totally the essence of me, is like big hair, like the bigger the better, the more smoky eyes, the more, you know, smoky eyes makeup I can have, and big gold jewelry, big cuffs. Like that's my look. I'm very glamorous. Like I love a very glamorous.
And you do it very well. Again, like I said, when I was, you know, doing my research, I was like, this woman is amazing and she's gorgeous. So you are doing an awesome job at it.
Thank you.
And when I was looking, I saw a quote. I always like to find out words people live by, or, you know, kind of quotes. For me, when I travel, I always take a dry erase marker with me, typically write something on the mirror when I get to the hotel. A lot of times it's in the mornings because I have to be up like super duper early. I used to be a dental consultant. And so dental practices opened. They saw their first patients at 7, which meant sometimes I had to be in the practice at 6, which means I probably had to be up at 4. So sometimes I needed a lot of motivation and success quotes to help me get through that. So I was reading something where you said that once you embraced, or you realized that I have this big personality, I am this person, I have this great personality, and so I embraced it. And so what are some success words that you live by, or what are some things that you tell yourself and it's kind of your mantra?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you pulled that out, because it's still something that I work with within myself, is to give myself permission to allow my big light to shine. And I think the quote that best reflects that is the Marianne Williamson quote from A Return to Love. That is, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. we ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. And it goes on. But I think of that quote all the time because it's so powerful of giving myself permission to shine.
Absolutely.
I walk in the room and the temperature changes. I know this. I've been this for, a lot of years.
Yes.
I understand what happens and I've had it reflected to me enough. But I walk in the room and everything changes.
Absolutely.
It's like the light comes on. And so knowing that, I'm like, how do I be of service in even a bigger way, using this light, allowing myself to be fully expressed, allow myself to be free. And I think that's why so many, the women that hire me as their coach, that's what they're drawn to. They see that I'm fully expressed and I'm vibrant and I'm out there and I'm not afraid to be seen. And I, say what I want to say. And women want that. They crave that. They long for that.
Wow. And you are doing an awesome job at being that person and teaching other women. We definitely have to talk. Absolutely. And so I love that quote. And I love the fact that it is very real. Who are you not to be that? And not putting limitations on who you can be. And so I really appreciate you being on From One Height Goddess to Another again. And guys, this just goes back to, you have to ask for what you want. I mean, I literally just reached out and said, hey, I met a gentleman and he told me about you and I'd love to have you. I'm just starting it, but I love to have you on the podcast. And here we are, you being on the podcast. So again, thank you so much for being on.
Yo, you're so welcome. It's been so fun. I wish we had more time.
Absolutely. We'll definitely, I'm sure after people listen to this, I am so sure we will definitely have to have you back. And so what I like to do is for our listeners, you can find Arriane on her social media channels. And you can also, her main place is ArianeAlexander.com. Again, her website will be in our notes, our podcast notes on the website. So if you would like to connect with Arriane, definitely do so and check her out at ArianeAlexander.com so that she can be your Rock Your Life coach.
And you'll have the spelling correctly because it's kind of an interesting name. It's ARRIANE and then Alexander, ALEXANDER. And for any of your ladies who are listening that are interested, I'm so happy to have a discussion with any of the ladies that are listening. You just go to my website and you sign up for a Rock Your Life discovery session. There's a link you can click and you can sign up. And I would be so happy to spend some time with you to see how I can support you in rocking your life.
Perfect.
It's a blast.
Absolutely. I'll definitely do that. And we'll definitely have the link on the website for them to definitely do that. Again, thank you so much for being on the show. It's wonderful to have another height goddess to talk to. So from one height goddess to another, I look forward to talking to you all next week. Peace.